Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful spring morning. It is about 5:30 in the morning. I'm walking out to feed the horses. We'll talk about content in a second. It is Friday, May 10th, 2024. And as I said, I'm walking out to the barn to feed the horses. So this channel is about my horses and also my knitting projects. Could be about gardening, could be about cooking, could be about philosophy on just about anything. So I hope you enjoy the content. Normally Friday is my day off, and I have most of today off. I do have a meeting this afternoon, so of course I'm going to try to cram in as much as possible into this earlier part of the day. I'm meeting a friend for coffee. She and her husband had went to Italy to do some bicycling, and I want to hear all about that. And then I'm going on a trail ride with my trainer. Normally we would have a lesson, but I thought I had to work all day, so I canceled it. And then yesterday I contacted her and said, you know, I do have some time if you haven't given that time away. And she said, I want to go on a trail ride. And since it's a beautiful day, I said, okay, I'm going to skip my 11 o'clock meeting. So that is what I am up to. Rest assured, I'm not shirking any of my duties. The meeting is optional, and I have an opportunity to attend it at another time. Speaking of horses, there's Odin peeking out his stall. Bragi's probably in there. Been working on some trailer training. They began to graze at the lawn up front. I was hoping to avoid mowing, but the grass is coming on fast and furious. So as much as they have given a great effort at grazing the front lawn, I'm going to have to mow. So I'm going to get to feeding. Hello, welcome to the knitting portion of my podcast. I just came in from the barn, so I am still getting myself situated in my my hair. Well, it's just hair. Who cares? So I just had a few minutes before I needed to leave. So for my coffee appointment, coffee date with my friend, I don't know what you call it. So I thought I would share my knitting with you. I have made some progress on this scrappy sweater that I've been making. It's a Raglan, just a very simple Raglan pattern. I have a tin with all the little accoutrements, my Altoids tin with all the stitch markers and all that kind of stuff in there, and it was rattling around. So this is scrappy, so basically green scraps held double with a plain, it's not really plain, I'll show you the yarn in a second, but I finished the body, tried it on. It fits nicely. The bottom ribbing is kind of curling, but I really like the way it's turned out. And you can see that I have started the sleeve. So the scrap yarn that I'm holding is kind of a very white base. But what I like about it is that it really shows the base yarn that I'm holding throughout. It shows kind of the variegation and the features of it, and I love that. So these scraps are primarily advents, from yarn or from socks, from lots of other projects. And this is the base yarn. So I think this is showing fairly true. It's like a very pale mint green with some slight variegation. I really like it. It's hand dyed. It's a superwash. I think it's a Corriedale, and it's by Nativity Ray Whiting, who lives in Houston. And I have a link to that in my show notes whenever I get them posted. So, and some of these, like I said, are Advents, Advent scraps, or Advent minis, and then scraps. So this is the yarn that I have left. The next color on the sleeve is going to be this. This is a hand-dyed sock yarn from a hand dyer who lives on Whidbey Island. She has the Skein and Tipple store, which is a yarn store with a cocktail bar in the back. So how cool is that? And then this is a Freckled Whimsy self-striping yarn. This is from an Advent, Polka Dot Creek. And this is, I believe this is Madeline Tosh. And this is from a tunic that I was wearing last week, a crocheted tunic. One of the viewers asked what the pattern was, and I am sorry, I don't remember. I knit that, I want to say like in 2010 or 11. If I come across, I still have a crochet magazine somewhere. I might know where it is. If I come across it, I will see if the pattern is in that magazine and share it with you. I can probably at least share with you the name of the publication that it came in. I don't want to make any promises though. Not any promises that I can't keep. So that's that project. I can show you the long sock project that I am doing. So I've been basically doing 4 rows a day until recently, and I'll tell you why. So it's this book. The socks are featured on the front cover. They are called Thigh High Stripes, designed by Deborah Newton. And I am on the striped decrease section, and I think I'm about to start some color work again. So that would be like about there, I think. So here I am. So the cuff, and then definitely on the stripe. So I guess I'm not on the color work section yet. First sock, not in a rush. Like I said, I've been doing about 4 rows a day, which is a method advocated by Kay from the Crazy Sock Lady. I really like it. I had to commute down south on Wednesday, so there was no early morning knitting. Got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, fed the horses, got ready for work, and was out of the house by 5. So, and that gets me down to the big city in an hour. Which is, otherwise it can take a lot longer than that, and the commute is a little bit painful. If you are a commuter, you know what I mean. So I worked down there until about 12 or 1:30, and then I came back up north. Took about 15 minutes longer at that time of day, and if I would have stayed until 4:30, it could take an hour and a half or 2 hours. So try to avoid that type of situation. So that's that project. So I didn't work on that as much this week. And then this morning, pardon me while I take a cup of tea, drink out of my cup of tea. And here comes Herbert, my kitty cat yarn destroyer. I finished a sock. So this is from Freckled Whimsy. I don't have the ball band, but it's a garter lace cuff, and it's actually toe up, but I'm showing it to you cuff down. It recommended a stretchy bind off, and I didn't do that, which I kind of regret, but I can still get it over my scrawny ankles, so that's fine. And then it just has a plain stockinette. It has a short row garter heel, plain stockinette foot, and then the toe is a garter with a lace pattern. So the lace part is in this dark section, so it's not showing up that great. And there's a left and a right. So Judy's Magic cast on. And I cast on the second sock, and it looks like it might match because it's So I just did that this morning. So you can see I'm just right there, like 2 rows in, starting the increases. So that's where I started with this one. So they may match, which is super exciting. So, and it is from the 52 Weeks of Socks. So I started this sock on April 15th and I finished it this morning. So yeah, less than a month. So this is Lumme. The Lumme pattern. There it is in that color. And 52 Weeks of Socks. Having fun with this book. So, you know, maybe the next time I record, I will be finished with that sweater. I'm not really sure. So those are my 3 active works in progress. I do have a cowl on the needles that's in hibernation. I feel like I knit a lot of cowls over the winter, and I'm just kind of not really interested. Plus it's summer, so. Well, it's not summer, but we're having quite summer weather this week, at least as of a day or 2 ago. Earlier in the week, it just poured, and I mean constant pouring. And the creek that I crossed to get back to the barn was a raging river, never in any danger of flooding, but it just poured. And I will have some pictures of for you of me working with the horses in the rain. In fact, at some point, I'm letting them graze in the front yard, and I'm standing under the porch. So Bragi's been doing really well with his trailer training. We're just taking it super slow. He gets in the trailer. He still is unable to move his body around. He's just too tense and frozen to be able to do that. But I am getting him to touch the cone in the trailer. And if you've watched my previous episodes, you know what the cone game is all about. It's something for him to focus on, something for him to do. So to target, if he's nervous about something, you know, he always gets a reward for that. So he knows he's got the right answer. So I didn't really mean to dive into that before I finished with my knitting, but you know, sometimes that's the way conversations go. So I don't have a new cast on, but Kay Jones released a scrappy quilt sock pattern for their 10th year anniversary of podcasting. She released it a couple days ago. I haven't printed it yet, but I do have yarn for it. So it's Polka Dot Creek yarn. I'm using Chowgu Red Lace size 0, which is 2 millimeter. That's my standard sock knitting needle size. However, those long socks, those thigh-high socks, I'm using 2.75 and 2.5 millimeters. So 2.75 in the color work section and 2.5 straight. So by the time I get down to the ankle and the foot, I'm going to have to decrease the stitches quite a bit. It's probably a standard 64 stitch stitch count around. I will probably have to reduce it down to 50, maybe 56. I'm not sure. So depending on what the pattern calls for, but I think 56 is pretty standard. So scrappy quilt. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to really easily show this to you, but this is a Polka Dot Creek mini set that I got that was kind of specifically dyed for this. Let me see. Oops. Dropped one. How about if I show you just a few at a time? And it's the blanket club. Oh, just these little balls of yarn. So here they are. Good grief. Here they are. There's 4. And here are the 5. So very peachy colorway. This is the April. There is a May and a June, which I have not opened yet. So that is, I'm hoping to cast these on, I'm thinking tomorrow. I don't quite know what order to do these in, and I hope that Kay's pattern has some guidance. So let me just show you these together, get my finger out of the way. And very pretty. I'm tempted to start with this darkest color and then maybe that and then this pink and then on down. However, there's these two variegated or speckled that I really like. This one, the one on this side is not showing up that great, but it's got some pretty colors. Oh, maybe because it's on this side. You can barely see it. There's like one little dark spot right there that's very pretty. So I don't quite know. So like I said, I'm hoping that the pattern has some guidance on how to do the colors, because I think she knitted hers in her sample in that color way. So that's the knitting. I've already talked about the weather. Life stuff was just, like I said, had to drive down south on Wednesday. I have to drive down south again on Monday. This weekend is supposed to be super nice. I'm going to be by myself this weekend. Randy's going off on a overnight mountain biking trip with a friend of his. So I'm just planning on doing some gardening, some mowing, some riding. I'm hoping to get on my bikes. We have a bike trip planned for next month. Maybe about 5 weeks from now. So I really do need to focus on getting on my bike. But I have just been enjoying riding bikes or riding horses with my friends, so, or even by myself. So it's hard to have a lot of hobbies when you work full-time too, but it's necessary to work full-time for at least another 5 years. I mean, really, I should work for another 7. I don't know. I have just set this goal that I want to work at my current job for at least another 5 years. I have a great job. It's very challenging mentally. It's a big project that I'm working on. I don't really talk about my work that much. I work in public health. I work for a large county in Western Washington. And I work in the wastewater or the on-site sewage system part. So I've spent much of my career in public health, in the environmental health section on on-site sewage systems. So I do have the technical expertise to understand how they work. I'm a licensed inspector, licensed by the state. So I had to go through, a fairly rigorous class and a really rigorous exam to get licensed to do that. So I do have a working knowledge of septic systems. And what my project is to find solutions for all the urban septic systems. So urban septic systems, or urban areas, you would expect to be on sewer, right? If you live in a rural area, then of course septic systems are the way to go. Usually you have plenty of land. Although I do wonder, with development going on in all the harder places where there's, creeks and cliffs and, stuff like that, that even rural properties are going to have less land area to have continuous septic system over time. So I haven't really thought that through very much or at all. So, but anyway, just back to what my project is. There are tens of thousands of urban septic systems in the urban area in the county that I work in, and they're all very old. So I'm trying to find solutions, including connections to sewer, which is quite expensive. So working with granting agencies, which are the big state agencies, and federal agencies like EPA, and Environmental Protection Agency, which, if you're not from the... Okay, my timer went off saying that I needed to wrap this up and get going. So I just wanted to just share with you a little bit about what I do for work. It's like I said, it's very challenging, and I hope to make some significant progress on this. It's a new program. It basically started when I started. There was some groundwork done prior to when I started. So being new to a large county and this very complex project has been very much a professional challenge for me, which is exciting. However, it does not leave room for all those hobbies that I have, like knitting, gardening, bicycling, riding horses. I'm going to wrap up here because, like I said, I need to go. I will try to get this out either maybe this afternoon. So I will have some footage from some horse activities, and I hope you enjoy it. See you next time.
Quick little conversation about my expectation when I use the leg. And you saw how... Okay. Good boy. So...